So let's just start it straight off with the Player of the Year. Each of these are going to have an FPO and an MPO category. So Player of the Year, FPO, Paige. I mean, this one I don't really think we need to debate or make an argument for.
No. It's pretty unanimous.
She was pretty dominant all year. There's not really another player that scratched the surface of her dominance, really. I mean, there's nothing else really that close to her. I mean, Katrina Allen had a decent year. Haley King had a strong finish. Missy Gannon had a decent year. There were some other, pros that won. Ellen Woodboom had a great win. Sarah Hokum was up there some. But every time the story of the tournament was they beat Paige.
Right.
So I think that was a pretty straightforward answer. I don't think anyone would disagree with that one.
No.
Now, the second one, MPO, I think we both agree on this.
We do now, after looking at the facts.
So when we first said we were going to do this, and it was the MPO Player of the Year, immediately, my head, I went Calvin Heimberg.
Yeah, I did too. And I think we actually talked about that like a few podcasts
I think
ago.
we actually
and
said.
we were like, yeah, I think it would be Calvin
Yeah.
until we saw stats.
And I can already hear you guys who listen to this podcast and might not like us saying, oh, these guys are just Macbeth fanboys. So I brought statistics to back this up, and a lot of them. Because I think that after looking at statistics, because I was looking at statistics to prove the Calvin Heimberg point, and it proved me wrong that it is Paul.
It's impossible to argue against.
Paul should be the Player of the Year. So we'll look at it category by category. Elite Series wins.
We'll just start off by saying all of these categories, just name each category, and Paul leads all of these categories.
Okay. Elite Series wins. Elite Series top 3s. Elite Series top 5s. Elite Series top 10s. Elite Series average finish. Elite Series harmonic mean, which that's a UDisc thing. We're not UDisc. Ulti World thing that I don't fully understand, so we're not even going to really matter with that. So average finish, then USDGC finish, he did not lead. Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship finish, he did not lead. Total winnings, he did not lead, but average winning per event, he did lead.
So,
but as far as the finishes and wins, he either
leads every category,
leads or is tied for the lead,
right,
in every single category.
So with that being said, if you're making an argument for Player of the Year, obviously it's going to be result based because that's how the game works.
Yeah.
So how on earth can you? And like I initially didn't realize it was this obvious, but like how could you argue against that? He is tied or leads in wins, top 3s, top 5s, and top 10s,
and average finish.
And
the average finish is by basically a full place over who would be the next closest player in Calvin Heimberg.
Right.
Now you might be saying, why aren't you considering Eagle in this? Eagle he ties for the Elite Series wins and then doesn't even come close in the top 3s, top 5s, or top 10s, and his average finish is 7th place, whereas Paul's average finish is 3rd place and Calvin's average finish is 4th.
Right. That's all I need to hear for that. Like, I mean, go ahead and try and make an argument against that, but like, I don't see it.
If we directly compare Paul to Calvin, Elite Series wins, they both have 2. Elite Series top 3s, Paul has 7, Calvin has 6. Elite Series top 5s, Paul has 10, Calvin has 7. Elite Series top 10s, Paul has 11, and Calvin has 11, bringing Paul's Elite Series average finish to 3.5, whereas Calvin's is 4.5.
So here's the argument that people are going to make, and because Calvin was the closest to Paul in those categories, and they had the same amount of wins, right?
2, yes.
Yeah, so he's the one you could make the argument for.
You could try to make an argument for Chris Dickerson.
No.
Well, he's the second closest average finish on the year.
I don't think you could, though.
Well, I'm just saying, in my eyes, looking at this with a USDGC win, I would actually say that Chris Dickerson is closer to Player of the Year than Calvin Heimberg.
Wasn't Calvin Heimberg runner-up at USDGC?
Yeah.
Yeah, so no. My thing is, people are going to make the argument that Calvin could have gotten it, and I would say if he would have won USDGC, if that would have been one of his Elite Series wins, if he would have still been tied with Paul, and he had a major like that, he had the Pro Tour finale or the USDGC, I could have give you that, but like the fact that he didn't, I don't know. I guess I won't be mad at you if you say it's Calvin Heimberg, but it seems to be Paul.
I think why, if you just go off your opinion and gut, it feels like Calvin Heimberg is this isn't the year Paul normally has or we've come accustomed to, which I think we'll talk about some in the prime sector of this. But 2 wins, whatever. But you know his average finish being 3.5, that also sounds like whatever. But there was more
because it hasn't really been Calvin's breakout year, but it's been his first year where he's just constantly at the top.
He's always up there, and Paul, we're used to always being up there, and Paul didn't win as much as we're used to.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it doesn't feel like Paul McBeth Player of the Year, and I wouldn't even be surprised if Paul didn't get Player of the Year from the PDGA.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even surprise me, and I wouldn't even like be that
No,
upset
if they gave it to
because
Calvin, I'd be like, sure.
Calvin had a great year. But if I was Paul and they gave it to Calvin, I'd be upset
Yeah,
because I'd be like,
to know the
look, I
reasoning.
beat him here. Like, look at the stats.
Yeah.
Because once I looked at the stats, I was like, as a person deciding the Player of the Year for nothing other than bragging rights that no one will brag
it's
with.
also the highest rated still. So
Yes.
you
Yeah.
get
I
that
don't
too.
like factoring ratings in because that could be as simple as Calvin going to play a C tier one time that Paul didn't play in and that hurting his rating.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's why I don't like ratings being factored in, because then if you're only concerned about ratings, Calvin would, like Paul, never play outside of the Pro Tour really. Or even Paul coming to a B tier at the Battle for Bedford this year, that could have hurt his rating. He's still the best in the world, but you understand what I'm saying. As far as ratings goes, he's the best in the world. But as far as Ricky might play more obscure A tiers, or Eagle might play more weird A tiers that hurt their rating. I hate that, trying to compare players according to their rating, because there's way too many outside factors. I almost said something else about ratings, but I'm going to hold off on that.
Jeez.
There's something that I want to validate that I saw posted on Facebook, that is if it's true about the rating and how much money was paid for the rating system. I saw it posted in a Facebook comment that I would like to bring up if that's true, but I need to make sure before that.
It's out in the world now.
It was in a Facebook comment, so but you can never really trust Facebook comments. So now we're on to the shot of the year. I think Player of the Year, we can wrap it up, right? There's no more really to say about it. Paige and Paul.
Yes.
For our opinion.
Yes.
I think the PDGA might have different opinions, but for our opinion, Paige and Paul.